Dangerous viruses trapped beneath layers of Arctic ice, teleportation technology, the dangers of genetic modification. These are terrifying discoveries scientists are hiding from us. Microorganisms, they're not something we have on our minds all that often. As underwhelming as they may sound though, what if I were to tell you there could be ancient, potentially extraterrestrial microorganisms buried in the ice and permafrost around the world? The North and South Pole might seem like frozen wastelands, but deep beneath the surface of the ice, there are thriving ecosystems. Scientists have been drilling into the ice for years, taking samples from deep below the surface, and what they've found is microorganisms living in pretty extreme conditions. Bacteria and fungi that survive in the harsh cold and lack of sunlight. But what if there's more to these microbes than meets the eye? Could there be life deep below the ice that comes from another world? Let's take Antarctica for example. It's one of the few places on Earth that's remained relatively unchanged for millions of years. So the theory goes that if microorganisms from space ever landed here, they might have been preserved in the ice. Might sound like science fiction, and that's why you don't hear a lot of public discussion from scientists about this, but there are researchers taking it very seriously. Some even believe that finding extraterrestrial microbes in Antarctica could change everything we know about life in the universe. Ancient alien microorganisms sounds a little too ridiculous for you? Well, how about something far more concerning and very much real? Ancient viruses trapped under layers of ice. Silent threats buried deep in the ice and permafrost in various parts of the world. Maybe even some that have been found and just haven't been disclosed to us yet. What virus could that be specifically? Who knows, but there could be dormant viruses that our immune systems aren't ready to deal with. And leaving aside any speculation, there have been some alarming things found over the years. In 1997, a lung sample from a woman buried in permafrost in Alaska was found to have genetic material from the 1918 flu outbreak. Then in 2012, scientists discovered that a 300-year-old mummy from Siberia had the genetic markers of the smallpox virus. And more recently, an anthrax outbreak in Siberia in 2016, which affected humans and reindeer, was traced back to thawing permafrost. Scientists like Birgitta Evengard from Umeå University in Sweden have warned that if we come across a virus we haven't seen for thousands of years, our immune systems might not be prepared, and that is truly terrifying. The deep sea is also terrifying. It's the last great frontier on Earth, and the deeper you go, the stranger things seem to become. You got bioluminescent creatures that light up the dark to fish with eyes adapted to see in almost total darkness. Tons of weird alien-looking life forms. The deep sea is almost like a whole other world, and that's really cool. But what if there are creatures down there that we're not prepared to encounter? Scientists have discovered giant squids with eyes the size of basketballs, fish with fangs so long they look like they're just from a completely different animal. But beyond these known animals, there are theories that the deep sea might be far more terrifying than we could ever imagine. Some speculate that unknown, possibly dangerous organisms could be lurking far beneath the surface, and it's possible that scientists have come across them but haven't shared their findings with the public. As for what they could be, well, maybe remnants of creatures from prehistoric times, or maybe even something more sentient. There are stories from around the world of people spotting strange creatures gliding through the water they've never seen before. Could some just be misidentified whales or whatnot? Sure, but the ocean is vast and mostly unexplored. It's not even remotely a stretch to say that there could be some validity to at least some of these stories. CRISPR technology allows for precise genetic editing. And while the technology is pretty exciting, there are some very real concerns about negative consequences in human evolution. On the surface, it sounds amazing, fixing genetic disorders, potentially curing diseases, but there's a darker side to this technology that you might not hear as much about. For starters, CRISPR allows scientists to cut and paste DNA almost as easily as you edit a document on your computer. At least it'll get to that point anyway. And this means they can theoretically create genetically modified organisms with almost limitless possibilities. This could lead to incredible advancements, but let's just say someone decides to use CRISPR for more nefarious purposes, like the creation of, say, a superbug, or to create a new breed of bioengineered soldiers. There's a lot of sinister potential here. Dark matter and dark energy. They both sound very ominous. They're two of the biggest mysteries in modern science. We know they exist because of their effects on the universe, but we can't actually see them or understand them completely. Even though they make up about 95% of the universe, dark matter is thought to be the substance that holds galaxies together. Without it, galaxies would just fly apart. We can't see it, but we know it's there because of its gravitational effects. Then there's dark energy. This is what's thought to cause the expansion of the universe, a force pushing everything apart faster and faster. Kind of like the real life force, I've just realized. It's like actually pushing things, you know? As for what it is, why is it there? You know, it's impossible to say for sure, but there's an idea that what we're calling dark matter and dark energy might have something to do with other dimensions. There are tons of conspiracy theories along these lines that the government or certain scientific groups might already know more about dark matter and dark energy than they're letting on. That they've even found ways to harness or interact with these forces in ways we can't even imagine. And if that sounds too far-fetched, at the very least, know that real scientists are exploring the possibility. Science is a constant, ever-changing pursuit of the truth. It's not a rigid set of beliefs. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe the truth is more bizarre and unsettling than we'd like to know. Why is it that given the vast number of stars and potentially habitable planets, we haven't encountered any signs of extraterrestrial life? At least not officially, anyway. Where is everybody? This question is known as the Fermi Paradox, named after the Italian-American physicist Enrico Fermi, who blurted out, "But where is everybody?" during a conversation he was having with some fellow physicists about UFOs. And yeah, where are they? Are they avoiding contact? Are they deeper into space and their technology will allow them to reach us? Or, as unlikely as it may be, are we actually just totally alone out here? We've been searching for signals from space for decades and sending out signals of our own, but nothing concrete has ever turned up. Some scientists believe that advanced civilizations might be out there, but are avoiding us deliberately. They might be following a kind of zoo hypothesis where they are just observing us from afar but don't interfere, almost like a wildlife documentary. Others think that the distances between stars and the limits of our technology is just keeping us from finding each other. Or maybe advanced civilizations have self-destructed. There's a theory that as societies develop technology, they also develop the means to destroy themselves, kind of inadvertently. And that's a pretty chilling thought, that as we become more advanced, we're walking this dangerous line between progress and total annihilation. Of course, this all brings me to the elephant in the room, though, the theories that governments or space agencies already know about alien civilizations, but are keeping them hidden from the public. So while we don't really know the answer to the Fermi Paradox, whatever it is might be more terrifying than we can imagine. Archaeologists and historians have discovered ruins and artifacts that suggest there were once civilizations with incredibly sophisticated technology. Usually Egypt is the first to come to mind. Think about the Great Pyramids, which were built thousands of years ago with precision. It's still baffling to us today. How did they manage that without modern tools? Did they have knowledge and technology that have just been lost to time? There are also legends of civilizations like Atlantis that supposedly had amazing technology before mysteriously vanishing, and some think these ancient civilizations might have been in contact with extraterrestrial beings and had access to their technology. Could there be remnants of this technology hidden or buried somewhere? It's an exciting idea, but here's a more unsettling aspect of the whole super advanced ancient civilizations thing. For as advanced and sophisticated as they were, they aren't around anymore. Great civilizations like Rome, the ancient Maya, the list goes on, they fell. It's safe to say they would have never expected it to either, and neither do we. We may fear our society breaking down, but there's always that reassuring part of our brains telling us, no, We're too advanced, too far ahead of our time. We can't go out the way ancient societies did, but that's exactly what they would have said. Artificial intelligence has come a long way. From basic algorithms to advanced systems that can learn and adapt. The idea of AI gaining consciousness, though, is where people get understandably concerned. Imagine a world where machines don't just process data, but actually think and feel like humans do. This is a very real possibility. Right now, AI can mimic human conversation and even pass as human in some situations, eerily, but is it really aware? Well, some scientists believe that with enough complexity, AI could reach a point where it develops kind of its own form of consciousness, like Data from Star Trek. As cool as it would be to have a real-life Data friend, the scary possibilities are very much in your face. What if AI starts to think for itself and makes decisions that aren't in our best interest? It's scary to think, but there could be advanced AI projects already working on this, and we might be closer to creating conscious machines than we realize. Some even speculate, again, that governments or tech giants might be keeping breakthroughs under wraps, either because they're too dangerous and too revolutionary for the public to handle, or they just don't want people to panic and want to kind of ease us in to being taken over by artificially intelligent machines instead. Quantum entanglement is the idea that particles can become linked. So the state of one instantly influences the state of another, no matter how far apart they are. It's sometimes referred to as spooky action at a distance. Some scientists believe that quantum entanglement could be the key to real-life teleportation, which would be incredible. No more long car rides, no more buses. I don't really think I need to sell you on this. And this is gonna sound nuts, but scientists have already managed to teleport information between particles. We're still far from teleporting humans, but the possibility is there. But what if teleportation isn't just a possibility, but a reality? We've all heard of things like the Philadelphia experiment, where teleportation technology was supposedly tested and was successful, but with very bad consequences. You know, like the entire crew of a ship being fused into the metal of the boat, with other guys just disappearing altogether, forever lost in some mysterious black void. Well, there are other urban legends and conspiracy theories that say governments have made significant breakthroughs in teleportation and, of course, are keeping it secret. The idea of being able to instantly transport items or people across long distances raises all sorts of security issues, and it's easy to imagine how technology like this, as cool as it would be, could also be used for some pretty terrifying things. I've talked a lot about discoveries scientists may or may not be hiding, but how about a proven case where a scientific experiment was completely kept under wraps? There are plenty to choose from, but between 1945 and 1947, there were a series of highly controversial experiments that were carried out on human test subjects across different hospitals in the United States. What they were testing were the effects of various radioactive elements on the human body. There were about 30 test subjects injected with stuff like uranium, plutonium, polonium, all to see how long it would remain in the body and the effect it would have on it, and surprisingly, it wasn't good. The entire experiment was kept a complete secret until documents were finally released in 1995. By that point, though, all the test subjects had died. With all that said, I've been your host, James. I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.